Good evening, friends, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, welcome to my face. Basically, this video is going to be my experience at drama school. So let's get to it.
Every time I take a draw, that's a mind out. Run it all time, play with since lights out.
Okay guys, so basically I studied a course at drama school that explored theatre from around the world. It was a theatre making course, and it was all about how you can use theatre from around the world to make interesting theatre, and also as to take techniques to become a better, stronger, faster, stronger actor and performer, all in all. Before I begin, I would just like to say that I enjoyed my course. This is not a bashing of my course or the drama school. This is a reflection of me, Andrea, my experience in drama school. It is not a universal experience necessarily, it is just my experience. And therefore, it is not a bashing of the place or of my course and of my course mates. It is just how I felt at the time. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is cultural appropriation. So of course I studied a course that was to do with theatre from around the world, so it was a little bit different. I was the only full black girl in my class. I had a couple of friends. We had a little BAME squad. Basically, minority ethnic meant minority ethnic in my drama school. But we also still learn about theatre from around the world. And I think for me, it really caused kind of like a conflict within myself, because I come from a very, like, my culture is very much ingrained in me. So when I'm thrown with another kind of culture or something that's different to my own, that is also a very strong culture, I have a conflict within myself, because I have to think to myself, how would I feel if people were learning and imitating my culture, and how offensive can that be? Now, for most practices, we got a full brief on what exactly we were doing, where it came from, why the cultures do this. We did have one particular module that was African dance, and I personally felt, we were taught by a man from Togo. He was so lovely, absolutely an angel, but we weren't taught why, where it came from, the meaning behind the movements we were doing and things like that. We didn't get the extensive lectures like we did for the other things. So when I had people doing African dance and taking the piss, I was very much offended. However, because of the current circumstances I was in, being the only full black girl there, and one of the very few from Africa in particular, I didn't feel comfortable expressing exactly how I felt, because I felt like I would be shunned or shut down. This is how I felt. This is not necessarily what may have happened, but this is how I felt at the time. And because of that, it then caused a weird rift within me, that I wanted to be there but I didn't want to be there. And this was within my first term as well at university, and it was very difficult for me to adapt to that. For me in particular, to come into university and be hit with this straight away, it was very heart-wrenching, I would describe it as, and very disturbing for me anyway. Particularly when I saw people putting on tribal makeup with no absolute meaning as to where it came from. And then later, when we go on to study other sections of theatre, then we get a full extensive briefing. I just felt it was just unnecessary, rude and disrespectful. But yeah, so that battle between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation was so heavily embedded in me, and I felt like the drama school did not necessarily realize or notice what they're doing. When the course is predominantly white, they're obviously white British people have their own culture. I'm not denying that. But what I am saying is it's very different to having a very strong ethnic culture and clashing with another strong ethnic culture. It can, cause some friction within the person, and that's how I felt. Drama schools are very interesting places. So historically, drama schools didn't usually accept people from working class backgrounds, because people from working class backgrounds couldn't necessarily afford it. But the conservatoire lifestyle has kind of just been reserved to the conservatoires, and a lot of drama schools have now coupled up with universities, such as University of Essex and certain universities of London, also University of Birmingham. I'm not going to say which one I went to, but we move. So a lot of these drama schools have coupled up with universities, and that has now opened doors to different type of people. And so I think, but however, even within that, they haven't necessarily quite got the hang of how to actually cater for a wider range of people. And the idea of diversity, and by diversity I'm not talking about gender and sexuality, I'm talking specifically about race, because this is all I'm going to talk about right now. But they haven't quite catered for diversity, ethnic diversity, and they haven't opened the conversation effectively enough to create a better or more comfortable, a safer, psychologically safer working environment for people of color. I'll give you an example. So within I'd say it's my third week in, my third week in, I was sitting in a class, and a music class, music lecture, and one of my tutors said to me, "Oh, we're going to be studying the history of music, of jazz music. Are you okay for me to use the N-word?" Now, if I wasn't in the room, would that question have been asked? Because last time I checked, the previous year did not have a black girl in it. So did he just use the word? Or did he ask the class? Because he didn't ask the class, he asked me. So it posed the question that, how long has this question been asked, and to who exactly are we asking this question to? Now, my answer to that question was this. And I think he got the message. But even with questions like that, the whole idea of diversity, you're trying to be diverse without actually understanding what diversity even means, and the institutional racism that is just embedded in all of our institutions. And that's not just at university level, that is at every level of the educational system. It's university and drama school is just another level of racism, is as far as I am concerned. And it's not I suppose it's not their fault. They just haven't necessarily understood manners. They just don't have manners. Another example was, again, music. Maybe it's just my teacher, to be honest. But another example was when I was in class and we were learning a Nigerian song, and I specifically said at the beginning that I am from Dominica and Sierra Leone. any song that came from any African country that wasn't anything to do with mine, because we didn't do any songs from my countries, but anyway, any song that came particularly from Africa or the Caribbean, I would be the one that everybody would ask to sing it. Now, first and foremost, I was born in North West London, so I do not actually speak Patois, nor do I speak Mende. So how on earth would I know what they're saying in Nigerian? Okay, how would I know? How would I know? Or Congolese, to be exact. Or how would I be able to sing a Jamaican song? How? How? The assumption was killing me. And it's not only that, it's like once you get asked this question, you now feel isolated. I now feel different to the rest of my classmates. My classmates now are their own and I am me. And that's exactly how it felt. It felt as if everybody was now, all eyes were on me, and it was very, I felt very vulnerable and I felt very uncomfortable. I felt highlighted, gaslighted, whatever you want to call it. I felt like just nervous and confused and just uncomfortable. And that's not how you feel. Like in drama school, you have to feel comfortable. You have to feel open and willing. You know, it's all about finding yourself and your own self-discovery. But if I cannot find that self-discovery and I'm not in a psychologically safe place to have that discussion and to explore that discovery, then how would I be able to succeed in drama school? And I don't feel like drama schools have quite got that idea of how can we stop being institutionally racist. I don't think they quite have that to a T yet. And until they get that, then I don't think any drama school deserves to have the title of the most diverse drama school in the UK. But yeah, it was just really, yeah, the whole experience in terms of experiencing institutional racism at its finest. Like in secondary school, I went to a troubling school. Like I'll do a video on this, like SGS flashbacks, because it's actually bloody hilarious. Probably get some guests on the show and whatever. But it was funny. But going from there, where everybody was kind of from where I was from, and the teachers were used to people like me but also still wanted us to succeed and do well, is such a contrast to having going to drama school and having to change the way I speak, the way I, you know, I acknowledge people and things like that, and the way people look at me, because people aren't used to that, and because they're not used to having somebody who is outspoken and strong and wants and says what they want and does what they want, and also having that level of somebody else who isn't necessarily going to answer the question of, oh, can I use the N-word? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's really silly. But yeah, I think the whole idea of racism within the institution, experiencing that firsthand just was depressing, and I suppose that is what led on to my feelings of anxiety. And I felt like, particularly within my second year, now a lot of things are happening in my personal life which added to this, which is another thing. I felt like because I was such a strong black woman, I didn't get as much support and help as, say, other people who were going through similar situations as me, because people just looked at me as a strong person. Because I didn't necessarily cry and break down in class didn't mean that I wasn't feeling things. It's just how my coping mechanisms. And I don't think necessarily drama schools have that idea yet of how different people cope with different things, and training, the necessary training for like life issues. I wasn't expecting what happened to me to happen to me, and I felt like, I'm in education, I'm paying you to teach me, but I cannot learn effectively because, one, I'm not in a psychologically safe space. Two, the whole institution is racist and has no understanding of other cultures except for specific cultures, and that's just the real truth. And three, I'm undergoing a lot of stress and pressure elsewhere that I don't necessarily have that ability to be open and vulnerable and ready as you need to be when you're studying in drama school. I felt like that whole experience really is what brought on my anxiety. Those days where I would literally just go to class and come back and just not want to do anything, not want to talk to anybody. My whole energy was off, and me as a person, like, I'm usually like the life and soul of the party, you know what I mean? Party, dancing, funky, fresh, hip, funkin'. But like during that time I was just like dead behind the eyes. Even when I went home, the way my family just looked at me like, oh my god, what have they done to my baby? Do you know what I mean? Like, what have they done to our little Ange? But I must say that actually feeling so alone and so isolated then allowed me to make the most beautiful friends that I currently possess. And within that darkness, I found light through these people. And I'll give you a story of how we met. So first night of freshers, we're, you know, in the club, and, you know, they've got a few bangers playing. By bangers, I mean, you know, like old school R&B, like that, those kind of bangers. They didn't have like recent up-to-date bangers. It was old school bangers. I mean, I was in a place, and so they specifically don't have that kind of thing. So we're in the club and there's all ooks, 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 ooks. But when they eventually did play like kind of hip, funky, fresh black people music, we were there like in the club. Do you know what I mean? And all the blacks would just come out, all the blacks would just come out, and we were like, oh, you know, funkin', freshin', you know what I mean? Like getting all party ready. And then eventually it went back to the ooks, 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 ooks. And I went to go take a seat. And when I looked to the dance floor, they were playing the Family Guy theme song. The Family Guy theme song in the club. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. So they're all dancing, and I went to go sit down because I said, oh, I'm not about to do this. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, my flatmates left me. I still haven't forgiven you lot 4.1. But anyway, my flatmates left me, so I was there by myself anyway. And I went to sit down thinking, how the hell am I going to get home? Because I don't remember how I got here. And then I look, and across me there's a whole bench of black people that had just gone and sat down simultaneously as soon as they heard the Family Guy theme song. And I started talking with them. I ended up going home with them. Look at me, going home with strange men. But yeah, like, it was just really nice to see people. And then when I was like, oh, what course are you studying? And they were like, oh, we're part of they're like, oh, we're part of the drama school. And I was like, oh, yay. And yeah, like the whole walk down, we were just talking about where we're from, like how we got there, auditions, like just life, who we are, that kind of thing. And from then, like, we built like the most beautiful friendship, and then went on to create the company and just do fun things. And I think within that, we kind of set the basis for a lot of others years later. So the year after, we saw another group of black people enter and join in. We kind of took them under our wing, like, okay guys, this is how we do things around here, kind of thing. And they made their own little gang, and then now we have like the other first years after that, and then the first years after that, and now I'm even in touch with some of the first years because I used to work with the Students' Union. Shout out Kirsty, shout out Sean and the Massive, been in the new, obviously shout out Elaine and that, obviously my G's, Mara Lane, come on, Lorraine, come on. Obviously I know some of the first years because I worked in the Students' Union, and and even like seeing them like feel like take advice from me and like learn like the tricks of the trade kind of thing, because that's what it's all about. It's all about like just making sure that like we pass it on for them below us. One of the things that like was quite interesting, so in our voice class, we do political speeches, and they didn't have any political speeches for people of colour. It had like all speeches from like all these different English kings, queens, Margaret Thatcher, all of that. I think it even had Theresa May on there, to be fair. And I remember inquiring about a sentence that was at the bottom of the page that said, oh, if you're a person of colour, then feel free to research political speeches done by people of colour and use it if it's acceptable. Now I was like, whoa, feel free as a person of colour. Bitch, you better find it for me. You better find me a speech. But anyway, I remember going out of my way to go and find a list. I made a whole list of speeches by people of colour. I included Dawn Butler because they were like, oh, we couldn't find any. I gave them Dawn Butler. I gave Diane Abbott. There was even one from Idris Elba. I gave Sadiq Khan. I gave so much, a whole bit. There was the mayor of Croydon, the mayor of Lewisham. I found so many speeches of people of colour, and I remember sending one dirty email, and I was like, listen, you lot are damn lazy because you guys couldn't find it. But anyway, here's the list of the people, and here's the list of the speeches. The next year came, my friend was like, oh, they don't have speeches for people of colour. I said, I sent her a whole list now. So obviously, I sent her the list again. I said, okay, in case you didn't get it last time, here is the list, da 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 da. They didn't do it again. My third year, they didn't do it again. So obviously, when I became the president of the Students' Union, I said, okay, it's my time now. So I went to them and I CC'd in the diversity and inclusion officer that they had to hire because they don't know how to be diverse. Well, maybe if you had diverse people if you had diverse people when you're making decision, or diverse people with the decision blood clot makers, yeah. If the people of color were the decision makers, then we wouldn't have this issue. Yeah, get me, dick. But anyway, they were like, oh, we're so sorry. So I CC'd him in. I was like, oh, baby Kate, have a look at this. And I sent her also, I was like, in case you hadn't seen my emails after the past 3 years when I studied at your drama school, make sure you can add these to the list of speeches for people of color. And they were like, yeah, I'm so sorry about that. I didn't add it onto the list, but I'm gonna add it now. I'm so sorry. I was like, okay, I will be checking. And I will be checking. I know when they have political speeches. I know that it's coming next term. And I am ready. But anyway, don't think I don't remember. Don't think I don't remember. But yeah, like even things to do with that, like they just don't cater. They have no regard, they have no want and real need to do that. And the only reason why they're opening their doors to diversity is because it makes them look good. My drama school was voted the most diverse drama school in the UK. If this is my experience and my school is the most diverse drama school, what can I do? We're fucked. And you know what? I just feel like drama schools are a reflection of the industry as a whole. I feel like they want to be diverse. They want new and hip, because you know it's hip to be a person of color now. They want to open their doors to diversity, but they have no clue how to, because they're all middle class, middle-aged white people that don't know what it's like to be a person of color from a working class background. They have no idea. A person of color in general, they don't know what it's like to be international. They don't know what it's like to be a person of color, a resident person of color. They have no idea what it's like to be these people. So how on earth could you be making decisions if you don't know what it's like? How on earth can you be making decisions and you don't know what it's like? How? How are you supposed to do that? How? And honestly, I think the solution is you need a sweep. You need a clean out. And that people don't want to have this conversation, and people don't want to say these things, but these people, these decision makers, these directors of these drama schools, these associate directors of these drama schools and these theatres, these heads of these drama schools, it's all because there are very limited people of colour making major decisions. And you know what, it's just a reflection in general. Like, why we have these stupid adverts like the coolest monkey in the jungle, and adverts that are just like inherently racist, and people are outraged by them. The whole reason why we have this is because they don't have people of colour making decisions. They don't have them as the decision makers, so they don't have that input. Tips and advice I would give to the blacks in particular, because I can only really speak for them, but like black people going to drama school, just be yourself, okay? You are meant to be there. No one could tell you otherwise. You auditioned and you are meant to be there. No one could tell you otherwise. You have a place there, and somebody wants to see you. There's a reason why you're there. You have a talent, you have a dream, you have aspiration, you have confidence. You're so brave to even pick this industry. You're not in nobody like, this is even aside, no creative picks the creative arts industry. The creative arts industry picks them. And you need to remember that you too have a place here. Your story needs to be heard. Your talents need to be seen. Everything that you feel within you and the reason why you're there, keep that at the forefront of your mind. No one could tell you otherwise. And yeah, you're gonna come through hardships. Yeah, people are gonna come and look at you sideways like you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, people are gonna be looking at your place here like, why is she here? What her kind can be around here. Like, yeah, they're gonna go and hit you with those kind of things, but you are you, and no one else is you. No one else has that black girl, black boy, black man magic, yeah? Black woman magic. They don't have that. You have that. You possess that. You're inherently beautiful and inherently confident. So don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Yeah? And when you get there, make sure you hold your head up high. Make sure you make the relevant connections that you need to make. Make sure you are staying professional 100%. 110% of the time. Make sure that you're on job. Make sure you work hard. Make sure you leave with that first class honors. Yeah? So when you get and you leave, then you can come and you can work for Hidden Views. It's hard, but you got this. But anyway, guys, if you have made it this far in the rant, you're a real one. A real one. Yeah, I just want you to tell me how you're thinking, how you're feeling about it. I want to know, like, do you have any improvements? Do you have anything that you want to say? Like, if you want to come on the show, you can on the show. If you want to come on the channel, come and talk about like your experiences, your life. The chair's big enough, trust me. Yeah, like, you're always welcome. So get at me on the socials, get at me in the comments, let me know. Share with your friends. If you have someone who's on their way to drama school or considering drama school, then send them the video. Like, even if it's the end bit with all the tips and you don't want to give them the depressing part, give them the bit with the tips. Like, just share it with your family, share it with your friends. If you went to drama school and you're a person of colour, let me know if your experience was the same. Because not everybody's experience is the same. I want to know people who didn't experience this and how you didn't experience this. I want to know people who did experience this. I want to know people who didn't go to drama school but still experienced it. Like, they're in their own field, in their own industry. University as a whole is a bit techie, let's be honest. So let me know, like, start conversation. Guys, talk to me, okay? But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Oh wow, they be talking like the hella fly. Oh my, always making us some porky pies. All lies, I'm not messing with those other guys.